So AetherDrift spoilers have started, but before we start today's video, I want to talk about this card because what you see in front of you right now is of course Chrome Mox. Now this is a card I have mentioned a couple of times in the last few weeks, and if we dive all the way down to the bottom, you will see this video that says 5 cards you should not buy in 2025. Go look up this video and you'll get a better understanding of why I chose to talk about it. But now we can start our regular video. Welcome back, everyone. MTG Moxman here, and thanks again for hanging out with me on my channel today. Yeah, Chrome Mox, already here. They've already started the year out with a bang to get your attention. And I gotta be honest, that artwork's okay, but I like the actual kind of in-house artwork better. This is the new kind of flary one, but you'll see later on. So if you haven't seen all these cards, don't worry. I'm not going to share every single one with you guys today in this video because it doesn't make sense. Chances are I'm too late to the party and you guys have already seen dozens of other videos covering this stuff. There's just a few, key points in today's video I want to mention. And of course, this was one of the big ones, is understanding that a lot of the expensive cards that Wizards of the Coast has, probably prepped up this year for reprint, and why you should probably watch that video of the 5 cards you shouldn't, be buying right now, because this is going to happen. There will be a dip in some versions of Chrome Mox, at least temporarily, because remember, that's a special guest. That is not going to be regular, found everywhere. They want to keep that value up, but it's still going to see a bit of a dip because the fear of how often it could be printed inside the track printing leaves that window that maybe you can take advantage of. So there we go, of course, with the beautiful Chrome Mox. I thought I would start the video out with that. Now let's take a look here, guys. They've given us some very interesting stuff. When you look at that, and it says start your engines. It's one of the new mechanics they're mentioning. Basically, it has a timer on it, and you keep speeding up as kind of like the game math. Like, oh, you're getting fast, you're getting faster. I don't care. It just seems kind of gimmicky to me. But let's look at what it actually does, okay? So when you reach max speed 4, this thing taps for 2 instead of 1. Okay? It does tap for 2 mana. You just got to wait till turn 4 to make it happen. Not the worst mechanic, probably better in Commander, as many of you guys are probably going to tell me in the comment section, but there will be some people who try to use this inside of the standard format, and it's not going to work, and we'll get to that. Now, our next card is the Avishkar Raceway. This one's a little bit different. You can see here it has start your engine like the other one, but as you look at this one, its max speed gives it the 3 draw a card and discard a card. This may be a desperation move for some players who try to use this card. They got to get some kind of grinding going, get some cards going inside standard. Maybe they're going to try to use it in Commander. I look at it and say, okay, but for what it's going to cost you to use it, there's probably a lot better options out there. So I don't see this one going very far, but interesting, at least they're trying new things. We jump over to the Amonkhet Raceway, and here you can see start your engines, max speed, target creature gains haste until end of turn. This one's a little bit different, isn't it? Yeah, it taps for colorless, nothing crazy, but by turn 4, there is a chance that you're going to be able to do something kind of crazy with this thing. This is a card that may not be very expensive, but I'm going to keep my eye on this one. Giving things haste and doing it as a land ability on turn 4, 5, whatever, I like it. I like the idea of it. I don't know if you're going to be able to connect the dots, but I like the idea of this card, so I'm giving that one like a full throttle. Get it? Ha. All right, next card. Okay, the Aether Spark. I have opinions on this card, so let's get ready. It's a 4 casting cost. It has 4 points on it, counters. And it's a legendary artifact planeswalker equipment. Well, that's a mouthful and a half. As long as the Aether Spark is attached to a creature, the Aether Spark can't be attacked and has, whenever equipped creature deals combat damage during your turn, put that many loyalty counters on. Okay, so it can get really big really quickly. What do you get for being really big? You get to add 10 mana of any one color to your mana pool. So you better have some key effect you're trying to get off with a card like this. The -5 to draw 2 cards kind of reminds me of the Meekstone Mightstone. Gives a -5/-5, where you get to draw 2 cards for 5 when it comes into play. This reminds me of cards like that, okay? So I'm looking at this going, okay, artifact equipment, there's things you can do with this. There's ways to attach it, warp it, do crazy stuff. I don't like it that much. I'm sure somebody's going to find a way to break this and do crazy things. But it just seems like more hassle than it's worth, because it says that the Aether Spark can't be attacked. I understand that. But I don't know if people have noticed lately, there are lots of ways of killing creatures in the game. Like, so many ways to kill creatures, it's basically just like a foregone conclusion that players have enough kill stuff inside their deck to eliminate threats before they get really big. I know I time my stuff pretty well. You're not worried about the little pests, you're worried about the big bad bombs that come out later. So the Aether Spark is interesting. I'm sorry. It just doesn't do it for me. Now, our next card. Okay. I don't care about the engineer thing here. I want to look at the exhaust mechanic. Exhaust says you can only activate this ability once. So being able to use something once, kind of like a one-off, you know? I look at that and say, that's not bad. That is an interesting way of introducing a mechanic. It can have a powerful effect, but you better use it right because you only get to use it once. Exhaust is something I find interesting with the cards I've seen. Creating the 4/4 creature, +1/+1 creature you control get the thing of haste, right? And put a +1/+1 counter on this creature. I like this card. I like the idea of the exhaust mechanic. And no, I didn't include loot in this video today, but he does have multiple exhaust mechanic stuff. So it's worth mentioning, I guess, that loot may not be that bad of a card in this time around for the AetherDrift. I'm just not going there. Okay, next one. Sab Sunnen Luxa Embodied. All right, 6/6 for 5. Not that bad, right? Reach, trample, and indestructible. Can't attack or block unless it has an even number of counters. So really, this thing's going to attack every other turn. But it's interesting. Watch this. At the beginning of your first main phase, put a +1/+1 counter on Seb Sunnen. Then if it has an odd number, you get to draw 2 cards. Attack, draw 2 cards. Attack, draw 2 cards. This is not bad. This is not bad. Okay? I like what I see there. I like the idea. Now, we've seen cards like this with the green-blue mechanic, of course, before. We've seen lots of different kind of combos like this. I remember all the ones from Theros, those god guys, right? There was the green one, the green-blue. There was also, what was it, Croaks and stuff, the red-black one. Crazy stuff. This is a nice kind of side to that. Still costs 5, but still, it's got nice effects. I like that card. Now, we're going down. Now, again, I don't care about the Rex. I don't care that it's an 8/8 for 5. I care about the trample, which is cool, but look at the cycling. They've added cycle back in. There's even a couple lands, I believe, that have cycle right now in this like preview of cards we've seen. So they're adding a lot of different mechanics to the game. And I have thoughts on this here at the end of the video. Just hang in there. I want to show these for a reason. We're getting to the reason. Okay, Thunderous Velocipede. Velocipede. 5/5 for 3 with trample, but each other vehicle and creature you control enters with an additional +1/+1 counter on it if its mana value is 4 or less. Otherwise, it enters with 3 additional counters on it, crew 3 for the actual vehicle. This is a crazy card. I looked at that right away and said, what about all the token armies you put out? What about all the ways of generating creatures and vehicles and things in this game? That card is going to be sought after, I think. You guys will drop comments and let me know, but I look at that and right away I think broken. Maybe I'm wrong, but it looks broken to me. Okay, next card. Land. The land cycle. Here we have add 1 blue or add 1 green if you control a forest or an island. We've seen this before. It's not a bad land cycle. It's just not great, but it's not bad. It's not bad. It's better than nothing. It's better than coming into play tapped. So I'm cool with this land cycle. It's fine. There'll be a few bucks each. Nothing crazy. So there you have just some of the cards I wanted to smatter out to you guys. Remember, we got the AetherDrift coming out, but we've got these boxes that are now 30 packs. Okay? 30-pack boxes. The price is, of course, commensurate with how many packs we're getting. I look at this and say pre-release is going to be a blast. I'm going to have a great time at my pre-release. But when I looked at the cards I've seen so far, I looked at the casting cost. There were some very big vehicles that cost 6 and 7, but they have crazy game effects, okay? And there are ways of sneaking them on. You have to get a few connective tissue pieces together, but you can make it happen. But I look at this and say, do you know how many red burn decks will just rip through these mid-range decks? It's going to happen too quick. They got to have a way of holding off, gaining life, and keeping things afloat until you can get to those higher levels of what these creatures are going to do, what these card mechanics and vehicles are going to do. Now, I'm not saying it's impossible, but whenever I want to get to Mythic and something like Arena, I pull out my Slick Shot deck and I just run through a train, just wreck everyone. You can't stop it. Yeah, I lose a whole bunch, but I win a lot more than I lose. And a lot of people are probably thinking the same way when they look at the casting costs of many of the creatures that they're showing you. So I can see in standard this not being a really big deal, but we don't know what's coming later. You know what other pieces are coming to synergize what we've seen? I mean, that one Raceway card that taps for the 2 mana if it gets to the speed 4, right? The max. I remember that Archway, you know, the one that came out in Outlaws of Thunder Junction. You know, you put it in, you got to unsummon land, but it taps for 2. Stuff like that. It's kind of cool to try. It's fun to play with, but it doesn't really win you the game. And when you're playing in those things, it's not going to be strictly casual. You're going for the throat and you're trying to win. You're trying to take people out. That's going to be a pretty competitive place where a fun deck that's casual isn't going to really do it. So a lot of these cards may not have the actual playing value that you hope they're going to have. At least not what I've seen. Now, when I look at Commander, there was a lot of Commander cards I did not include in today's video. I want to wait till I see more. They are great, but usually Commander cards are. It's a whole different power level, a different bracket. They're meant to connect and make really crazy things go off. And there were some fun cards that look like they'll do that. I want to see a little bit more. I know I can tell you right now, like the ones for Saheeli and stuff, those ones had energy. Like we talked about, I said the 5 cards you should buy before the set releases. And a lot of them were energy cards because I knew it would come back around being from Kaladesh. So I'll be curious to see what other energy cards they connect in to see if there's anything big that'll come down the pipeline. But I just keep bringing this back. This is a standard set, but most games in standard are over by turn 5. So how are you gonna get that going? Yeah, you might be able to drag the game out if you can life gain or do crazy things, but with all these decks now that can do instant kills right now, and they're the ones from Duskmourn, right? They can just, I forgot the guy, the vampire guy deals damage, everyone gains the life, and just bounces back and forth off each other, and you're dead. That's turn 5. It's over. So some of these cards don't get out till later than that. So I'm wondering how it's all going to play, which means I'm expecting more cards that will make you at least have a chance to live, to drag it out so you can get to that level. Or why would they invent those cards at all unless it's for Commander? You guys are going to drop some comments about this, I'm sure, but I saw the intro video and I hated it. Okay, like I hated it. I look at War of the Spark. I look at that and I hated it. Like with a passion. I didn't want to see a Hot Wheels commercial. Fake Ghostbusters, vehicles powered by souls. No. No. And I hope that they are moving away from this in the future. I hope they are moving away because it doesn't grab me at all. Yes, some of the cards are cool. I'm not going to take that away from it. But I'm looking at that video and I hated it. Somebody on my Discord put it up and I was just like, oh. No, I didn't watch it again. I didn't need to. Anyway, thanks again for hanging out. Thanks for being here on the channel. What'd you guys think of that whole pre-release? What do you think of some of the cards you've seen? And again, separate it a bit. How did you feel about the mechanics, like exhaust and speed up and stuff? Because I like those. They're not bad. I mean, I don't like the name speed up or whatever, but I like the idea of the mechanics, just like I did for the plot and stuff. So I like what they're doing. I just hate the terminology and wording to go along with it and the story. So that's just how I fall. And I want to know what you guys think, though. Drop some comments. Thanks for coming around the channel. If you enjoyed today's video, like and subscribe to the channel because, we're moving on up, people. Thanks again. Have a great one. Hey, guys, a big shout out and thank you to the fantastic patrons of my channel because those patrons' daily uploaded content is made possible each and every day of the week without missing a beat. We got new content every day. So thanks again to my patrons and thanks again to my YouTube membership members for being the supporters of this channel. I will shop smart and shop smart, but so should you. See you tomorrow. Okay. Welcome back to the end. Hold on. Let me right? This is the Ramble Jamble. You are here at the end. Don't make me bring the mic closer to my face because I hated that video. Oh, yeah. It reminds me of 1980s Hot Wheels commercial, and maybe that's what they were going for. It looked like Ghostbusters from the 80s cartoon show. The animation, everything bothered me. Everything. It is not often I have that type of reaction where I was just like, because my mind starts playing back to older sets, older videos, older things. I said, I've gone from antiquities, from legends, hardcore lore and stories. To Magic the Gathering light. Almost like it's something for me to enjoy and throw away, like just forget that it ever happened afterwards. You know, it was good while you were eating it, and then you're just done, so you spit it out. And then you go, what was that again? I forget. Because you just don't care about it. And that's how I felt looking at that video. It's like, okay, it's cars racing. It looks silly. I don't like it. I'm glad it's over. I should go back and watch the War of the Spark video. That was a good video. They've had some great intro videos. They've had some great little things to pick you up. This was not one of them. This is not one that they should be proud of. They should just let it go. Just let it go. Anyway, that's how I feel about it. You guys let me know. Ramble in the jamble. Ramble.